another podcast. My name is Joanne, and today we're going to talk about why memorial or funeral services are important. As you know, my late husband, Ron, died recently, and he and I had talked a great deal about funerals and memorial services. Now, he's kind of the old school that he feels that it's important to have a funeral. And so in the time that we had together before he died, quite a while ago, we talked about why was a funeral important to him. And so he told me why. And so I said, okay, if this is really important to you, I will do everything I am able to make exactly what you want happen. And so, first of all, I want you to know that I believe that one of the reasons why, for Ron as a funeral, why funerals are important is to honor the person that has died. The second one is to give others the opportunity to honor the person that's died. And then I think the third reason that services are important is to have some closure. When we have an opportunity to talk about them and to honor them, it does help us, it does deal with a great deal with a closure. And I think it's important to have services, to have time with others that want to share memories, but maybe not do it in front of a group, but in some kind of a social time afterwards. I believe firmly that ritual is important. If you think about ritual, we do it in so many different ways. We have birthday parties for someone. We honor people who are going to get married, people who have finished graduations. I mean, there's more and more reasons why we have ritual. So why not have ritual to honor someone who lived for 91 years and did a multitude of different things, and take the time to really find people from different parts of their lives to share something about them. So while Ron and I were talking about what he wanted in a service, there were several people that he wanted to speak, and he told me who they were. And so I wrote them down on a piece of paper so I could remember this is what he wanted. Then he told me what kind of music he wanted. And then he told me that because he was in the military, he wanted the military presentation. And he definitely wanted to have bagpipes at the end of the service playing Amazing Grace. So that was the desire that he wanted for his service. Now, the first thing that we talked about is that he definitely wanted to be buried in a casket. And he had already bought the plot where he wanted to be buried in Estacada. He'd spent a lot of years there, and he wanted to be buried there right next to his late wife. And so I was in total agreement. That's what he wanted to do. So when the person dies, you need to go to a funeral home, and you need to find out what's this service is going to cost and how do we begin to put all these pieces of the puzzle together. And the funeral home I chose is the one that I called them ahead of time months ago and said, there would be a time when Ron's body would be delivered to the funeral home. But there was a request that I had, and my request was, could I buy a casket at Costco? Because I did know that caskets are much cheaper at Costco. And this particular funeral home said, yes, I could do that. And so 2 days after he died, a friend of mine went to the Costco page where it talks about caskets, and we checked them all out. And I found the one that I thought would be appropriate for him, and I ordered it. And it arrived at the funeral home 2 days later. And that was important to me because, of course, I wanted the casket to be there before the funeral service. And so if you're looking for ways to cut down on expenses, one of the ways is to find different avenues to purchase the items, like whatever it is that you're going to use. So I found out also that the people at the funeral home do have some insight into different ways that maybe you're going to get an extra amount of money through Social Security, and they're very helpful about helping you with details that maybe you don't know anything about. So as I thought about the service, I thought about, okay, I want to do this as a real tribute to him. And I want to say this for people who say, when I die, I don't want to have anything. I just want you to take me to wherever it is that they want to be buried, and that's it. And yet the family is left with not doing anything for that person. And I'm hoping that someone in the family would say, well, we need to do something to honor Susie. And so I'm suggesting that if a funeral, they don't want a funeral, they don't want a memorial service, that you find a way for a family to come together and do something special. And I suggest that most of all that you light a candle of love and have someone light the candle and talk about the person for a little bit and honor them that way, because the light of their life will always shine in their hearts. So why not do something special that way? And if your family is not very verbal and they say, we don't want to talk about them, then maybe you light the candle or have someone light it and you give a story about the person, and then open it up and let other people talk. People want to remember, and people need an opportunity to talk, even if it's in an informal way. Well, I want to go back to funerals again about why they're important, and I want to tell you that I have done many funerals in different places. I did a funeral in a tavern because the man that owned the tavern wanted the service in the tavern, and it was a great service. I've done them in grave sites where there's a grave and they're going to bury them there in the cemetery, and I've done services there. I've done services in parks. I've done services in homes and backyards. I think that we need to remember them and find a way to do something that causes a ritual so that people have an opportunity to communicate and share something of the person's life. So I believe that lighting that candle of love is a wonderful thing to do. And just to be able to light that candle and have someone say, we love you and we thank you for all that you have given to us. And that light is going to continue to always be a part of our lives. Now, in the services, you could do many different things. You can have pictures, you can have music, you can do something that would be very special to the person. I wanted to do for the service for Ron is I wanted to honor not only his incredible life as an educator, but I wanted to honor him as a great dancer. Now, when he was married to Joyce, his late wife, they loved to dance, and they were good at it. And they were dancing in the Grange when she had a heart attack and died in his arms. And by the time her body hit the floor, she was dead. That's a pretty incredible way to die. Well, when I made a list of the things that I wanted in a man, when I was singing to the bareness in my bed and wanted to get married again, I wanted to have someone who was a good dancer. Well, I didn't know it when I had that character quality on my list that he was the number one dancer. He loved to dance. He learned to dance when he was in junior high, and dancing was fun for him. And so I don't know. I think when when we went on a date somewhere, he took me to some place where we could dance, and I found out in a hurry, boy, could he dance. And so after we were married, we went on 27 cruises. And every time we go on a cruise, he'd check out the ship and all the bands and find the one that he felt was the most fun for us. And then we would go there and we would dance. Now, we weren't the stars on the dance floor. We never really were that kind of people. We didn't want the limelight. There's people, you have to understand it when you go on a cruise. There's always people that are the kind of like the professionals, and they know what they're doing and they do it. Well, not Ron and Joanne. We get on the dance floor and we would dance, but we were dancing because we loved each other and we just enjoyed doing it. And he was the leader and I followed. And the other thing that was so fun about Ron is if there was a song that he especially liked when we're dancing, he's singing the song. And so, that was part of the service that I did for Ron is I had someone come and video when Ron was still able to walk, but not able to dance. I had them come in and play Elvira, and we danced with our hands. And so that was a part of the video that I did in honor of the fun side of Ron Petrie. And there's lots of different ways that you can share something that's creative and something that is a part of who they were to say, you know what, I want to honor you. And I have found, too, something that I would want to say about flowers. Now, if you love flowers and you want a lot of them at your service, you need to say flowers are welcome, and you need to know that after the flowers, if you know who all these people give them and you can find their addresses, it's important to send them a thank you note. But I chose to bring something from home that was a peace plant, and it was thanks to a paid caregiver that took care of part of Ron's time. She'd made this peace plant just beautiful. And so that was what I used for the focal point at the funeral service. I didn't want to spend a lot of extra money on flowers. And so that's one of the things that I did that I just felt like was a part of us, part of our home, and a beautiful, beautiful plant right in front of the podium. So what I'm trying to get you to see is that you can do any kind of a service and it doesn't have to be so costly, but our whole fun and important part and also beautiful part is to share their lives with others who love them. Now, Ron was in the military, and he had said to me, now, when I die, I want you to have the military presentation because Joanne, I'm very patriotic. And one of the people that was a good friend of mine was able to get someone from the Army, which he was in, come, and there was a flag, a full flag over the casket. And so as the casket was in front of the congregation and the people, they could see the casket with the flag over it. And then there was a time when the military came forward, took the flag off of the casket and folded it, and in a very beautiful way presented the flag to me. Then we had the Patriots come with their motorcycles, and then they did a presentation. And following that, as the pallbearers were able to pick up the casket, and as it moved through the church back into the hearse, I had a bagpipe player, and Ron wanted to have Amazing Grace. And so that was playing while the casket was being led back out of the church into the vehicle. And I followed right behind that as the bagpiper was playing Amazing Grace. There's so many creative ways that you can do a service. At the end of the service, we had a reception. And in the reception, we just had maple bars and Hostess cupcakes. That's what Ron loved to eat. So that wasn't very expensive, but I had somebody in charge of that, and they had cut the maple bars in smaller pieces, put a little flag in them, and then the Hostess cupcakes were there with coffee and tea. What I want you to see is how important it is to include part of their life in the service, and you can do it, and it doesn't have to be really expensive. When you have a funeral where you have a casket, you have to have pallbearers. And so I tried to invite people to be a pallbearer that I knew Ron and that would be willing to be part of honoring him. And there were 6 of them. And I really appreciated seeing them taking the casket back down the aisle into the hearse. And I just realized how important those men were to Ron. And I had taken the time before the service to write a thank you note to each one. I wrote a thank you note to them and to each person who participated in the service. And I wanted people to know how much I appreciated them. And then I just want to talk about music. You can have any kind of music you want. Ron told me that he wanted all his favorite people that he had played their music. He liked Willie Nelson. He liked all kinds of music. And so there was a tape playing before the funeral started with his favorite music. And it was just fun to hear all these different songs that he liked. And that was something that I did for him. And I think that we need to do music that means something. And, when we're thinking of a person's life, we want to do everything we can to honor them because you only get one service. We had one song during the service, and it was Sandy Patty singing How Great Thou Art. That was important to Ron, too. I wanted to share with you some of the things that people said. And, I have been amazed at the amount of sympathy cards that have come. I asked that no flowers be sent to the funeral, but I asked if people wanted to make a donation, that they could make a donation to one to another. The organization that Ron and I have been involved in since he and I have been married. But when you get a card and you think, oh, I want to send a card or I want to take one to the service, I just think they're so wonderful. And I've been very touched by the beauty of each card that has come. And so I wanted to read to you because people wonder what to say. What do you say? And Ron was in a car club for a long time, and someone who had been in this car club said, We will think of Ron as we drive our Thunderbird and hope you hope your fond memories of Ron will sustain and comfort you in the days ahead. So we used to drive Thunderbirds, and I thought that was a very wonderful comment. And then here's another one. Dear Joanne, we were saddened to hear of Ron's passing and his struggles for the last 2 years. What a beautiful and meaningful service for him. It was lovely to see you. We'll be praying for you as you move into this new stage of your life. God's blessings on you. And then here's another one that said, may you find peace and rest as you lean into our loving Father. Ron's memorial tribute was one of the nicest, enduring I've ever been to. He left a huge hole from the wonderful life you shared. I'll be calling you soon. Then there was another one. This one said, sending you so much love. I'm praying God will fill you with peace, strength, and endless comfort after the loss of Ron. Every memory I have of him, of his kind, fatherly, and comforting presence. I'm praying God will bless you the way you and Ron have poured endless encouragement into so many lives. And this one just says, what a wonderful tribute to Ron. He made a difference in the world, and you make a difference in the world. Thank you for letting us into your heart. Cards. They seem to carry mere words. You know me enough to know my heart to care for you in this time. I'm prayerfully and mindfully doing so. As a mentor in grief to me, it's oddly an honor to be lifting you up. And this one says, my dear Joanne, I'm so sorry for the pain in losing your Ron. I know that the added stress that comes with this, asking that the Father lavish you in truly remarkable ways. You are so precious. Beloved, my friend. And then, this is from a friend, another state, to my dear, sweet, loving friend. I've been waiting to write to you and tell you what a special peace you have had in my heart during this long, difficult journey that you've been through. Such love and devotion you displayed during this challenging time. Only a person with your devotion and love for Jesus is able to go through the dailiness of life, facing all the issues you experienced. You're quite an amazing woman. Love, hugs. See, I'm just trying to give you ideas about what to say. People don't know what to say. This one says, you planned and presented a beautiful tribute to Ron's honorable, charitable, and love-filled life. I'm blessed to have known Ron and to have known you. Know that I'm here for you with love. This is one here. May you find comfort in the love that surrounds you, strength in the memories you shared, and peace in knowing you're not alone. May God's grace and healing fill your heart at this time of grief and adjustment. And then the last one. Beloved daughter of the King, you were made to shine from the inside out. No jewel or gem could ever outsparkle the beauty of Jesus that radiates from who you are. There's no one else on earth like you. May God bless you in the coming days with his tenderness and provision. So I just felt like maybe I should just share with you some words of comfort because they are important. And the beauty of cards, so you can just keep them and just be able to have the comfort that you need. And so I wanted you to know why I believe that memorials or funeral services are important. I think that at the end of our lives, I think that people should be honored. People should be able to be thanked. That people should be able to remember. I think that it's important for us to take the time and energy and creativity to do something meaningful, whether it's in a church, a backyard, in a park, in your home. I'm hoping that you might rethink this whole idea of why we should remember to remember. I hope the next time that someone in your family dies, you'll think more about, yes, we should do this instead of no. So I hope that as you think about this, maybe you'll take one more step closer in your healing in your life as you honor those that are alive and those who have died.